It it is Sam Houston's final game in Shell Energy. Are you happy about this? Are you ready to say let's get the hell out of there? It is Thanksgiving, the night before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Eve, but we are still here. Final little appetizer before the turkey rolls out. The Bearkat Bites podcast is live. I'm Lane Fobbs, your host, your editor, your reporter of the Bearkat Bites newsletter. Year-round coverage of Sam Houston that includes today, the day before Thanksgiving, and we are here, especially after we're coming back from overseas, from Spain, from Barcelona for a wedding. Wifey and I's first time there. It was amazing. I mean, I could do hours of a video on it, on how everything went down in a good way and all of that stuff. But not even but I guess so. But what that meant was we had no game preview or wrap of Middle Tennessee or game preview of FIU. So we'll do some of that today. But at this point, you know, they're looking at likely a 2-10 season. A lot of Bearkat fans want to look forward, you know, and we're going to do that. We're going to talk about that. And if you want to talk forward, get in that comment box. Links are in the description as well. Do you want some Sam Houston slippers? The links for these are in the description as well. The links for those are in the description. Become a subscriber. And if you do it at the $50 level, you'll get a t-shirt. You'll get these Santa Claus slippers. We're working on one other thing too for the winter and as we get into the spring. Maybe we'll have it ready for Christmas. I don't know. We'll see. We'll let you know. We're always working on something here, okay? So get in the comments. Are you ready to just move on? Just say, you know what? Screw this. Done with the season. Well, you still got one more game. You still got to head to Bowers one more time. And it looks like rainy Miami. They're going to bring the FIU from rainy Miami, South Beach there. They're going to bring the rain with them. It might be some lightning delays Saturday, folks. Get ready for some possible lightning delays. I'm going to tell you that right now. So what I wanted to get into, how will you remember the Shell Energy era? Sam Houston, their moonlighting tour, their Vegas residency as the third tenant at Shell Energy behind the Houston Dynamo, behind Texas Southern and all of these other teams. They're even footing the bill to clean up the stadium and the field afterwards. So they're looking to do that. All right. So how will you remember? You're a Bearkat fan or an observer. How will you remember the Shell Energy era? To me, it just comes down to what was this even about? This could have been an email or done at a stadium. You know, maybe one of those nice high school ones up closer around Conroe and Grand Oaks and all of that stuff. You know, not many highlights to show from it, right? I mean, one win came on the road. There was the Coco Brown hurdle 2 weeks ago against Delaware. Yes, there was the Delaware game. There was the Delaware game, okay? Yes. But not much, right? Not much to be taken away. What do you think? Not much to be taken away from this season, from this, let alone this home season. Are you ready to get out of there? Are you ready to be able to drive to Neubauer Stadium instead? Let me tell you something. We're based out of Houston. You think I want to keep going to these games, or would I rather get out of town and go to peaceful Huntsville? Even with all the prisons, a lot peaceful and down here. So there's that. There's that. Oh, man. Old Sam Houston, man. So the team is 2-10, likely 2-10. Right now they're 2-9. So a lot of you all again are looking forward to the offseason, to some of these guys who you all would like to see signed and make it on campus and all of that stuff. That's a thing now. I mean, it's always been a thing, but that's what is more to the forefront now. You're not planning for a bowl game. It's senior day, which is sad because it's going to be rainy. This is just one of the saddest seasons of Sam Houston. Probably the saddest that one could think about, right? Oh, and that, so what do you all think? Get in here and sound off. Get in here and sound off as we add that there. So, running down some of the recruiting class, it's not bad. A lot of the guys are ranked. It is a lot of 3-star guys, not terrible. Some decent names, some guys out of Houston, a couple one out of Katy, things like that. The one that stands out to me is Ty Sexton. He's a 3-star receiver out of Katy, Jordan. Now, a big thing that Phil Longo, one of the main gripes that has been an issue is he doesn't see the receivers as getting open. Who's really separating themselves? Right now, Chris Reed is kind of starting to do that. Chris Reed is starting to do that. But who else? Who else is really starting to separate themselves? So I think you still have the kid out of Galveston Ball that you redshirted. You'll have him. You'll have Ty Sexton. I still like Logan Cahill, the offensive lineman that they got last year's recruiting class, 2025. Well, this past year, it's weird to say in 2025's recruiting class. Let's say that. Good offensive lineman. They redshirted him, obviously. And so they're saying, like, hey, you're going to block. No, you're not going to block for Hunter Watson. You're going to block for Landon Locke next year, right? When it's Landon Locke and blocking for Coco Brown, hopefully all McCaskill, people like that. Maybe you'll find another good running back, that type of stuff. Let's see. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Also add to this. How much hope do you place in the 2026 recruiting class? We'll get to your comments in 1 second. I want to finish up one more thought. There's a lot of defensive backs in this thing. There's a lot. This is just a high school recruiting class, guys. We haven't really talked about the transfer stuff. We'll get to all that later. Trust me. We've got all December. There's no bowl game. There's plenty of December to talk about players that are shuffling in and out. So there'll be plenty of time for that as we have our Thanksgivings and get to Christmas and all of that stuff, There's names, Cato Jr., son of the NFL guy that played for the Colts, among other teams, Cato Jr. So that's not bad. Not bad. So the only thing is, just the development. The development. Now, we don't talk a ton of recruiting here. But the thing is, guys are starting to come in. You've got 10 high school players. After what I thought was a slow start to recruiting, they've kind of picked it up. They used that bye week after the Oregon State win to say, hey, let's get this thing cranked. I mean, well, wait. Which bye week am I thinking about? I'm thinking about it was the last bye week that they had of the season. It's escaping me right now. We're doing it live, guys. We're doing it live, okay? Somebody can help me when that was. But during that last bye week of the season, they really started to pick up the recruiting, and you're starting to see it. So we'll see how long that keeps going. Now, they've still got to do the transfer class. They've still got to have guys shuffle out. Still got to go to JUCO. All of these other things. It's all got to come together in this new group of names who is going to come into the season. But that happens after FIU. New setup. What do you mean? Elaborate. What do you mean? My take is that they were strangers in a strange land, says 007 Dub. Well, yeah. And Phil Longo, the coaches, they talked about how Shell Energy was never ever felt like home to them. So, all you can do is just take that L and get out of there. All you can do is just take your L and get on out of there. Oh, the way the screen's showing for live. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we got a new setup because what's going on with that? I think I'm on some free service thing that they got. I think I can use this until tomorrow or something. I can't remember. I can't remember. The point is, it's not going to be like this after. I don't. When we get to the post game Saturday for FIU, it's not going to be like that. You're excited for the class, okay? Hey, their names, their guys. And there were a couple of names last year that I liked as well that we'll probably start seeing this year. Again, Logan Cahill. Now you start to see some of these guys, Dean Ford, on defense, just out of necessity because of injury. A lot of them. But you start to see a lot of, and just lack of talent, had to throw some guys in, but you start to see a lot more of those younger guys on defense more so than offense. Offense, I think you'll see freshman receiver or two. I think you'll definitely see an offensive lineman or two that we didn't see much of this year because they'll have development. You know what I'm saying? So, not bad at all. Not bad at all, especially for a class that I thought started off very, very slowly. For a class that I thought started off very, very slowly, it's not bad. Not a bad class at all. So I would like to see a few more offensive guys, but that's just me personally. But they do need defensive backs. They need defensive backs. So they're going to throw guys out there and say, hey, can you play? Hey, can you play? Hey, can you play? Can we develop you? What's your attitude? All that stuff. So that's exciting to see. Very, 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 very exciting to see. But there's still one more game. There's still one more game, guys. One more game. Let's see. We got one more comment before we move on. Need more offense in trenches. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's the good point. And I'm glad this was brought up. Now, offense, we talked about again. Cahill, I think they got some other guys coming in, maybe on offensive line, but specifically the defensive line. They got to get deeper. But again, you saw some of the young defensive guys that hopefully are there next year. You saw some of them play. You saw Dean Ford. You saw some of these younger guys. The guy that Jinx, Brody Henderson, made appearances. Those are the guys. Now they got to fill out, get bigger, get more consistent. Excuse me. So for that front seven, that's what you're hoping there. You know what I mean? They feel pretty okay with the front seven. Remember last year, we were talking about, well, there's names, and over the offseason, there's names on this front seven, and they kind of showed flashes. Now they're hoping that it gets more consistent. I've always said, and I said this since early in the season, that the talent deficiency is in the defensive backs, which is a problem because you can't coach talent. You can't coach somebody to close the window quicker, right? And out in coverage. So they're hoping that, just go defensive back heavy. I think it's a little too heavy. I do think it is. Now, I'll agree with that. I will hear arguments on that. It is a little too heavy. Could add another trench guy or two. I'll hear arguments on that as well. I will listen to that. But like I said, overall, it is what it is. I'm just happy that that some of it started to pick up. Because for a while, there wasn't many people to talk about. Yeah, Cato June. Broda. McFarland. You had a couple of those, but then that was it. It was kind of radio silence for a while, but then it kind of started to pick up. I don't know how many people. Let's see. Improved play in the front seven. Let's see. The deep it's helped the defense. Yeah, exactly. It's helped the defensive backs out. Yeah. It's helped cover up those deficiencies. So now imagine if you got a good front seven and now you got a talented backfield. It turns out that you'll have a good defense, So not a bad class. Not bad. And again, you're gonna have other guys transfer in. You're gonna have from other schools, you're gonna have JUCO guys, you're gonna have all this stuff come in. It is just, can these new names push Sam Houston up the Conference USA rankings standings when it's all said and done, right? Can they help them at least double their win total, right? Can they get two more? So there's that. I'm not sure. We're gonna see. They still have another game to play. -9.5 versus Florida International. There's still one more game to play. Oh, you thought this thing was over? No, and it might take a long time for it to be over because as it stands now, it's looking like it might be some lightning, the thunderstorms, which could mean lightning delays. Oh, and you thought this was over. Nope. Florida International. Now, over the offseason, we talked about how, and in the newsletter, which you can see, the links are in the description. Click like and share. Let people know that we're here talking Sam Houston football year round, Bearkat Bites. But we talked about in the over the offseason how Sam Houston, how this FIU game could be a battle between Sam Houston and FIU. Whoever wins this can go to a bowl. Well, we were completely wrong. Sam Houston cannot go to a bowl, and FIU, they upset Jacksonville State last week. That means that was their 6th win. They're already going to a bowl. So completely off base. Why are you all here? I don't know. I don't know why you're here. Our opinions are very inaccurate, right? But what I see right now is an FIU team that is rolling, is an FIU team that has a head coach that came in very organized and ready to embrace what this new college football thing is, ready to just develop guys knowing that they're going to leave. There's a new energy to Florida International. I have a friend that I go back to 2001 with when we were in the 6th grade. Yep, on status back to 2001 when we were in the 6th grade. He went to FIU. He went on to go there. So I'm gonna need to share this with him because I really like what Willie Simmons has done there. The former Prairie View coach, the former FAMU coach, former Duke assistant, and he's just come in there and instantly turned that thing around. He's a Florida guy. He gets the culture. I think they're going to start their freshman quarterback, Kewan Jenkins, who we talked to over the offseason. He is not going to play, I don't think. But they've still got a good running game. Kewan Owens. They've got Mr. Clark on defense. I just like saying the name. They've got Mr. Clark. I've waited all season. I was like, please let Mr. Clark be healthy so that we can talk about Mr. Clark, because I like what he and that defense are doing. You got Brian Blades, the second there, corner we in the offseason. This is a good team. This is a very solid and competent Conference USA team. I think they're going to get this one. They're going to win 7 games. I don't know who they're going to face in their bowl game. Probably the Boca Raton Bowl, maybe, or the Camellia Bowl or something, maybe. Whatever Conference USA slotted in for. But it's been a good year for them. It's been a good year for them. And this is after losing a lot of guys. I think they only brought back 3 guys on offense, 2 on defense. They were in the same boat as Sam Houston, but they've been able to put it together a lot better than Sam Houston. And that's kind of what this game is secretly. This game is secretly a referendum on 2 different, I don't even know if it's different, but to approach how different it, I don't know how different it is, but this game between FIU and Sam Houston is a referendum on 2 approaches to building, because they both lost massive amounts and tracks of talent from a year ago. Now granted, Sam Houston was a lot more. That was from a team that went to a bowl versus a team that didn't win much, but the energy from that coach just wasn't there from Mike McIntyre, right? So it is interesting to see both teams, after losing a lot of players, seem to have come back just fine. FIU has, right? Do I think any assistant coaches will get the axe? Ooh, hang on. That's a good one. That's a good one. Hold on. Let me finish this thought. That's a good one. So with that being said, Sam Houston's final game in the rain, in pain, on senior day. That stinks. That stinks for those guys. Like guys like Hunter Watson, guys like Luke Eckert, guys who have contributed and done fun things here. Hopefully we get to talk to some of them even after the loss. Hopefully they'll want to speak about just, their time at Sam. Let me say something about some of those seniors. Those guys, that was one of the best seasons in Sam Houston history. Those guys have been around for a championship. Those guys have taken Sam Houston to heights that if you're a Bearkat fan, that's what you wanted. You can't ask for much more than what those guys were able to give you. If they're in the senior class, think about all the success and the heights that they've been responsible for. It is worth reflecting on that. It is worth reflecting and thinking on that and discussing it in terms of how they will be remembered. It is worth talking about that, it is worth your time to think on that. So just kind of that. But yeah, FIU is going to win this one. I'd say 34-17 or maybe 27-17. I would see FIU winning this game. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So there's that, 2-10 season, and we'll have time next week to reflect on what that means. But you guys are already ready to move on already, right? From the season, especially with this question. Do I think anyone will get the axe? There were mistakes, but there was not just straight negligence. There were moments of negligence, but there were not patterns of negligence. And I remember Phil Longo saying that, they basically had some real tough conversations and it started to improve, but then it fell apart against Middle Tennessee. My read on it, and I did not get to listen this week. I was coming back from overseas. I would say no, but don't be surprised. No, but don't be surprised. A lot of you all during the season had called for Freddie Autry-Lindsey to be fired. A lot of you all questioned that. Maybe the defensive back coaches, maybe. I think all the offensive guys are safe. I would say they're safe, especially the wide receivers coach. I've heard very highly about him from sources. So I wouldn't expect him to go anywhere. I wouldn't expect in the offensive line coaches. I wouldn't expect them to go anywhere. The offensive line got better. You know what I mean? Maybe defensive backs. Maybe defensive backs. Maybe defensive backs. But I don't know. McGraw. No. Any D-line. I mean, it was a season in which they didn't even get to play at home. They didn't even get to play at home. And it is also very rare that you have continuity in a coaching staff from year to year. It's very rare. So someone may leave, someone may be fired, but I don't think it'll be any major firing, like coordinators, like top assistants. I don't think so. You got to at least give these people a year at the stadium, at the thing that they're going to play in for the next years and years and years. I thought it was something other than the ceiling. So I would say no. Overall, I would say no. This isn't one of those times. It's been a frustrating season. It's been a long season, right? But that's why it's coming to an end. That's the good news. So after this one, it's going to be time to look up, the new players that are coming in, who's going to be leaving, be winter. And then before you know it, it'll be the springtime. We'll recap the season next week. Thanksgiving's coming up. Thankful to all of you all. I met a couple of you all this season. One or two of you all, I saw you all, said you listen here to what we do and you listen to the Bearkat Bites podcast. You read the newsletter. I am always deeply appreciative of that. I should say it a lot more, but I'm deeply appreciative of that. I am a college football writer professionally in a past life. I work that part-time now because of family and wife. It's kind of how you got to do that. And you all read it. You all sent us to Oregon State this year. You all read some of my other stuff on the Huntsville newspaper. And I'll repost that as well after the season. I am appreciative to you all. That's who I'm thankful for. Get in there and sound off on this as well. What's on that Thanksgiving plate that you're going for first? What are you eating first? We'll do our Corn Eats Thanksgiving segment. You know what I'm going for? The dressing, that stuffing, dressing, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm going for that first. I got to have it. Then I got to have that lemon pie. Oh, man. That lemon pie. I got to have that too. Can't wait to do it. Thank you. There we go. Any thoughts on Locks losing his red? Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I'll just give that to you. I wouldn't have done that. Now, granted, it's the transfer portal, and he's probably not going to be there anyway. Now, here's what's interesting about that. Coach Prime has decided to redshirt Julian Lewis, his freshman. They have also had a crappy season. Coach Prime's response has been, you know what, I'm going to preserve that red shirt. And he has caught flack from that. You saw Jason Butterball Whitlock talking about it and questioning that. So it can be looked at from both ways. I personally would not have done it. I wouldn't have. Because why? Why? Your season's done. Throw out DJ Bailey there. Have some of these other guys get stuff on tape. You know what I mean? But Longo could be looking at it like, this guy, he's not going to be here anyway. I may as well play him. Maybe he agrees with Jason Whitlock, Maybe, Jack Del Rio's still there. Maybe Jack Del Rio agrees with what Jason Whitlock's saying and funneling that to Longo. Who knows, So I personally don't think it's great. But I've also said earlier in the season to play your young quarterbacks. This is the time to get them that experience because there's not many people in the stands. There's not a ton of pressure. The only problem with I have with Locke red shirt and stripping the red shirt. Why didn't you do this earlier? I mean, there was some really crappy quarterback play throughout the year that that the level that it reached where it was finally competent in certain points in the latter half of the season that could have happened earlier in the season. Maybe you're looking at 4 wins, 5 wins. Maybe you're looking at a couple of other wins. If you have a more competent quarterback play, if you're going to strip the red shirt, why not just start it earlier? That's really the problem that I have with it when I do this brain exercise on it in my head. That's the conclusion that I arrive at. If you were going to do that already, Western Kentucky should have been Locke versus Maverick McIver. You know what I'm saying? That Western Kentucky game. But again, it was trying to help Hunter Watson and these things. And I get it. We just said the words about the seniors. So I get it, right? But this is what I said was the problem. And we said this in the off season. Those of y'all who've been here with us, make sure you tell people to subscribe. We talk about this stuff. We talk about this stuff all off season. And we're right here again. We're right, not again, but here we are right here talking about the thing that we said would happen. It's time to just cut the cord and start the young guys at the quarterback position. Because now you've stripped the red shirt and there's a few games of less development. So very, very, very questionable stuff. It's like things that make you go, Hopefully that was a good take for you. Hopefully that was a good take. Hopefully that 5 to 6 minute screed was a good take for you. But seriously, that's what I think. That's what I think. And it's just another in a long line of just slightly eyebrow raising moves, that we've seen all year that you hope get better in 2026 in the new stadium. Because that's what you're left with. That's really what you're left with after this season. That's what it all is right now. You're just left with, wow, I hope it doesn't suck like this next year. Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. You never know. You don't know. But yeah, we're going to see. But I'm going to go ahead and get some of this, get started on some Thanksgiving activities and get ready with the family, guys. You all have a happy Thanksgiving, all right? You all enjoy. You all, we're thankful to you. We will have coverage of FIU, of the Florida International game in some form or capacity. That is at noon. This Saturday is going to be on ESPN Plus, which means you'll have to not find your bootleg website online. You'll have to not find Meth Streams or something like that to watch it. But we'll see you guys. All college football is good college football. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care.